I mean, I guess self-care, doing the things I love personally, keeping busy.
I do soccer, volleyball, just to take my mind off like whatever I'm going through. I just like keep my mind collected and I talk to my friends like usually about it.
I buy myself some masks, I take a bath, I listen to like slow music so that it calms me down because I'm always stressed out.
Swimming, I do piano, and it's not always like work or study.
I think the best thing for me is exercise, and I think every time that I have poor mental health is when I'm not getting exercise and not eating well.
Having some internal conversations with myself, think through the issues and like kind of being the second voice of reason to myself. So it's like, it's okay if you feel like this, it's not that big of a deal, you can get through it. It sounds very cliche, but it actually helps.
What helped me the most was meditation. 10 minutes of meditating daily. Right now I don't suffer as much from anxiety because like I learned to live with it and to deal with stressful situations. So yeah, this is my way of dealing with anxiety and my mental health.
For mental health, you really need to say, okay, what do I need to have in place to be resilient in an environment, university, that is tremendously demanding? I need to be able to be within myself, calm, and able to handle those stressors. So this is within individual resilience. One can get that by really focusing on things. We see a lot about mindfulness now. There are other stress management techniques that you can use. Another big part of being well is a social support and connection, working actively at that to really make sure that's in place. Being mentally healthy goes beyond just meeting with a mental health professional one-on-one. This can be something like accessing the peer support that's available on all campuses, looking at other resources, looking at online resources that can help you develop that stress management I was talking about. So there's all kinds of gradations of taking care of yourself, and you need to use all of them and not wait until it's becoming a crisis. Do it proactively, preventatively.
What's really, I think, important is how to maintain positive emotions. I use exam time as an example, but it's sort of a clear example of a period where people might think, oh, I'm really stressed and I have to do really well, and they put a lot of pressure on themselves, so I have to study more, and so I'm not going to see my friends, or I'm not going to exercise, or I'm not going to go to my club or something like that. Sometimes they start to cut out the social networks and the activities that actually keep their positive emotions high and give them a sense of support and an uplift. So I think if students can acknowledge that they're going to feel stressed, they might feel distressed, they might feel anxious, they might feel sad and tired, but if they can maintain the activities and the relationships that can boost the other end, then overall they'll be able to sort of balance their well-being, especially during the really stressful times like exam periods.
More awareness, maybe have some banners, some more, publicity.
To make it very visible in campus that like if you have mental health issues, come and see us, and like maybe like post it online.
If it was more accessible to the students, it would be better. Or like most of the people either want one-on-one interaction or they just avoid their problems.
I found it hard to meet students since I moved here. It can be a little bit confusing if you're just moving in, so maybe to make that stuff a bit more accessible.
Universities, typically have a lot of programming. So there's like Student Success Center, there's counseling and mental health, there's extracurricular activities. But I think what universities are struggling with is how to coordinate some of this and how to direct it to the students who really need it. So maybe for some students it's that initial transition. If they've moved away from home, if they've moved really far away from home, they don't have a social network. So having sort of targeted interventions for particular groups.
One of the really important aspects of how to address mental health on campus that I think is really overlooked currently is that not all students are equal in terms of the access that they feel they have, their willingness to help seek, because of the differences in perceived mental health stigma. Specifically, international students who may come from cultures where the mental health stigma is just off the charts relative to even what our own students here in a Western context already feel that stigma. These students have no way of really even finding out what the resources are because they are so fearful of coming forward. There has to be a better way of reaching these students to provide support for them in a truly anonymous and confidential manner.
That they're definitely not alone, that I think everyone struggles with mental health.
Take a deep breath because, don't take life too seriously. The grand scheme of things is much larger than just school.
Do not stay at home, or don't seclude yourself.
Speak to your loved ones. You'll feel better after. It's 100% sure.
I'm looking for advice myself. I honestly don't know. I think it's really try to look around for resources as much as you can.
Every time think about any situation that you are in. You are not gonna stay in that for a long time.
Get to a counselor or some friend and try to share your problems so that you might get a solution. You will never know.
First of all, I think it's that awareness and sort of acknowledging that they're feeling stressed, they're feeling overwhelmed. They've reached a point that this isn't sort of, a healthy amount of stress, and being open to that. Being like, okay, now I've taken on too much, right? So maybe I need to take a step back here. Maybe I do need to seek support.
When you're struggling, you need to recognize that you are not alone. You see other students, and they seem to be doing fine. They are not talking about how they are struggling with mental health. At that point, what can be helpful is going online. Jack.org, for example, is an excellent organization that you can reach out to, because you can get a sense there that you are not alone, and that can then give you the strength to go within your own context and insist that you are wanting some kind of service or support at whatever level you need.
I think mental health is important and people should look after themselves. Of course, you should look after yourself physically as much as you have to look after yourself mentally. And yeah, it's very important.
I'm optimistic. I think that these conversations are starting. More and more universities are starting to sort of see themselves as more than just an educational institution. It's more than just grades and transcripts.
Right now, I'm a little concerned sometimes that mental health on campus has become divided, with students saying, we need more support. And the university, sometimes the service is becoming defensive of, we're doing the best we can. But we're in an unprecedented situation. We have never had this as a university before, this kind of demand. So we are learning. We are not doing the best job now, but we're working towards that. And we need to do it in partnership with students, not in opposition.